Right, here we are again, Sports in the Bay live. Felicia and Eddrick. Felicia, how you doing?
What's up? Doing
It's been a
good.
minute.
It's a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's been a couple weeks, but let's get into it. Sports in the Bay. Here we go. All right, welcome back. Good to see you. It's been too
Good to be
long.
seen. I
Yeah,
know. I know. With every life be lifing.
life be life and things happen. But we
Life be
always plugged into
lifing.
sports, and you can always see what's going on in Sports in the Bay, our Facebook page,
Yeah,
Instagram, all of that. So Felicia's always posting. We always got good content going, always got conversations happening. So
we
go ahead
try.
and we try. Go ahead and
We
join
try.
and subscribe and check in on our Sports in the Bay Facebook page, and you'll get this show as well.
And there's a
Uh
group as well. And I didn't realize the group is where you can interact with people. I was
right.
talking with my nephew, and he was like, "No, that's where you want people to go to your Facebook group." So you can
Yeah.
also find us on Facebook, Sports in the Bay INC Incorporated. So
Perfect.
please join
Perfect.
that group
Yep. As we figure all this out, so
as
we
we
can bring
figure
you.
it all
Oh,
out.
what's up, Christy? Christy's in the house. Thanks, Christy, for checking in.
That's
Appreciate you.
funny. I was about to text her. That's hilarious.
Yeah, my boy. Shout out to my boy, my brother Frankie, my brother from another mother, Frankie, and we had lunch a couple weeks ago, and he said, you guys ought to go regular, and go to regular time, and because sometimes I don't know, and I'm like, yeah, I know, man, I
Oh,
know.
he's right.
We
He's
try.
right.
I was like, yeah, you're
I,
right, bro. You're right.
I got that too. I'll talk to you offline about that. Yeah, someone that we both respect a lot said that. Yeah.
Yeah, so as we move along, I mean, we figuring this out as we go along, so we'll get there. We'll get there.
Mm.
Lot going on. Lot going on. Where shall we start? Well, like we were
Well, the
talking
Warriors
offline about.
fizzled out
Yeah, whew, there was a hamstring away,
last.
wasn't it?
Wow, well said.
Yeah,
Well said.
yeah,
They can't
yeah.
can't function without can't function without Steph Curry.
No, no, and
Mm-mm.
I'm a Warrior fan. Been a Warrior fan from the back in the day. I go way
Hmm.
back to when I was a kid. Been a Warriors fan. I still don't
Absolutely.
understand what happened with Kaminga. I still don't understand why that young man wasn't getting on the floor. I know it's 3 weeks ago, but it still kind of bothers me because when you did put him on the floor, look what he did. So
Did he
yeah,
mess with the owner's daughter? I mean, it makes me think of well, not as bad as the Marcus Allen situation. Well, we never really
right.
knew why Al Davis benched him. And at least Kaminga, I think there was a lot of chirping going on as well, more so as to why Kaminga wasn't playing. And then, like you said, he gets in and he's a factor.
He's
So
just ridiculous.
I don't know
you
if
know?
they're trying to keep him healthy because they want to trade him off or what. It just
Yeah. He's
I
gonna get
can't
his
find
money, right? I
he
mean,
don't get
he's got
paid.
a restricted contract, so the Warriors can match any offer, but chances are they might try to do the sign and trade. But
Hmm.
when you talk chemistry and guys are playing who probably shouldn't be playing ahead of him, yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
got to be something more than that. So, and they needed him. You could tell they needed him. So, even with
We
stuff,
need a big body. Need a big
yeah,
body and need someone that can make some buckets.
yep,
Were just
yep,
non-existent.
yeah,
It's like he got the cold feet once when Steph's not coming back. He started playing like the rest of them play when Steph isn't healthy or playing. It's crazy.
yeah. And it looks like obviously they would have ran into OKC. So there's that.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
right.
2015 Warriors team.
Oh man, yeah,
Boy, is
yeah.
it bad?
OKC is coming. They're here. They are
They're
here.
they're here, honey. They're here. They are what they say. He is him. They are
Yeah.
him.
I mean, they're deep. They got everything. defense,
Mhm.
superstar. They get the calls, which is important.
Yeah, they do get
Um,
calls. They
they
do
get
get the
calls.
calls. Yeah,
They
yeah.
get calls.
Sure do.
Now, I'm quite sure the NBA, because Game 6 tomorrow with the Knicks and the Pacers. I bet you the NBA is like, please, New York, pull this out because I don't think
That's
they want to
me.
OKC in the Indiana
Ooh,
final.
that's not
Mm-mm,
sexy. Who wants that?
mm-mm,
I
nah.
I'm I always loved the Knicks from as far as I can remember. And well, of course not like I'm a Warriors fan, but
Right, right.
always rooted for the Knicks, especially the Patrick Ewing days. And gosh, come on. I just need them to win another one. But I don't
Yeah,
they would have to win seven in New York. That
yeah.
could be helpful.
We'll see tomorrow if now
Hmm.
obviously if Scott Foster's refereeing tomorrow night, they're probably going to be a game 7. So um, that tends that tends to happen. Uh, you know, just saying. But
Hmm.
we'll see what the NBA wants. The other piece to that, and and I'm sure you have much respect too.
Mm.
We're coming up on the last games for TNT.
Crazy, right?
Oh man.
It
Um,
just doesn't seem. I just hope they sign them to NBC, but it seems like they've already got their roster over
yeah, I
at
think they're going to. What
NBC.
I saw was they're going. So what I read, if this is
Hmm.
true, is that TNT licensed the show to ESPN, and it's going to include Barkley
Oh,
and Ernie and those guys. But
okay.
Barkley is on the record saying they were a little skeptical of that because one, they didn't tell them that was going to happen. They didn't tell Barkley, and I don't know. Ernie probably knew, but they didn't tell Barkley and Shaq allegedly. And that now with somebody else producing the show, they just licensed the name. But now ESPN is
Oh,
producing the show.
mm,
Who knows? The
that's a
nuances,
whole
the
nother animal, man. And you got a
exactly.
different producer. You got to get used to their little innuendos and in your ear.
And
People don't
ESPN,
realize that. It's hard concentrating when you got a EP in your ear.
hmm
I don't wish
and
I don't know about it.
with Barkley and the way they interact, they interact as grown men, and sometimes ESPN to me, I don't think they want some of that kind of banter, some of that stuff that they say. So it's gonna be interesting to see how it
Mm-mm.
is. But
You are
shout out to
right about
TNT.
that.
Shout out to
Because the only,
TNT.
for real, because the only one that's really talks like that on ESPN would be Stephen A. He's the only one that's kind of, the mouthpiece.
Right.
But those
Right.
guys, talking head, three talking heads up there who are respected, and it just feels like you're in a barbershop talking with those guys. And Eddie is
Yeah.
the glue, and he brings it all together. Ernie is the glue, and he brings it all together.
Yeah.
So
So
I hope
it's
it
gonna be
works
end of an
out. I'm
era.
gonna miss him. It's been like 30 years,
Yeah. Yeah.
20
Something like
something
that.
years like that.
1990 something because I was telling my youngest daughter because she obviously she don't remember back in the day, but I was saying this
Hmm.
era. So Bird and Magic was a CBS era because back when basketball was
Hmm.
on CBS, that was Bird and Magic, and then
Hmm.
Jordan was the
Jordan Pistons,
NBC era. That was the
and
NBC
can't
era.
forget the Knicks, and even
Right.
Indiana. Hmm.
Exactly. That was all on NBC.
Hmm.
And then now you got the Steph, LeBron, KD era. That was TNT. And so now, it's gonna change. It always changes. The stars
TNT,
come and go.
ESPN. Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And now we're back to NBC because I
Now
know
we're back to
Dwayne Wade
NBC.
is going to be on there. I know that I think they got Carmelo
hmm
and
I forget who else. And Amazon's gonna have
who's
basketball
okay,
too.
stop
Amazon's gonna
it.
show the NBA. Amazon Prime. That was the reason TNT didn't get it, is because Amazon got the bid and they only went with ESPN, well, ESPN slash ABC, NBC, and Amazon Prime. Oh yeah, there's a glare in your face. They're saying
Yeah, Christy. I want to get up, but I may have to. It's gonna come down eventually. The blinds in your room. I have the blinds cracked open. She claims this is her room. So yeah, that's
That's
what's going on.
hilarious.
I just didn't want to get up and go close it. But I guess if it looks like I'm a Martian right now, I probably wouldn't
Well, it's not as long as it's not. Like,
get.
can you see? Because like it's right in your. Like it's not blinding you, is it?
No, I see just fine.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
this one's coming from over here. Okay, I've got another little window here, so that'll be going down
All right.
soon. How about
Cool.
I do like
Cool.
this?
Lean in. There you go. There you go. So yeah,
Lean in.
this gonna be changing. Everything's changing with basketball and the
Mm-hmm.
coverage, and but yeah, shout out to Ernie, and they just it's an era. It's just there's never. I don't think there's ever been. I think
It's
that's the best
nothing like
basketball
it.
show of all time.
No, clearly. I mean, those days are memorable with Jordan on Sundays and hearing
Oh,
come on,
Marv
what's his
Albert,
name? Thank you.
Marv
Hearing
Albert.
Marv's voice and what was the one that's uh, Michael
Oh,
had Ahmad Rashad, Kobe had what's his name? The with the white guy that Kobe had
oh,
in his ear.
uh,
Oh, I
can't
could
think
see his face, little balding man.
of it. Yeah,
I
it's gonna
keep
be
wanting
good.
to say Mike Green, but Mike Green's an announcer. Rick
Right.
Gray, last name Gray.
Oh, Jim Gray.
Jim Gray.
Jim Gray. Yeah, yeah, Jim Gray.
Mm-hmm.
Who's Jim used to stir. He used to stir up stuff. he was
Yeah.
he was no joke in the boxing
Mm-hmm.
ring too. Jim would ask some crazy questions
Sure
in the boxing
would.
ring.
I forgot about that.
Uh
Oh
huh.
man, that's when
Yeah.
boxing was king, man, back in them days.
Yeah.
Evander
Yep.
Holyfield, Mike Tyson,
Jim Gray. Yeah.
Jim Gray, that was Kobe's boy.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So we'll see what
Hmm.
happens. With how it looks next year, but yeah, it's not going to be the same. And so for
Yeah,
you youngsters, you get another era. I know, but everything they're going to that streaming platform as fast as they can,
I
and
know, I know. No
it's
one's
only a
gonna
matter
be
of
able to
time.
watch anything. My adopted mom she's like, "What game is on?" And I'm like, "Well, if you don't have ESPN, you won't be seeing any basketball until the actual NBA finals, and
That's
it'll
right.
be on ABC then."
That's
Like
that's right.
she just
That's
can't
right.
understand, but that's the way of the world now.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
streaming.
But I
It's
blame the
all
NFL.
about streaming.
At Christmas Day game that they had we had one a couple of them on Netflix, and then they did the one last year or year before last. They did that Miami KC game on Peacock. Remember, playoff game,
Yes,
first time, and it was one of the
yes.
highest rated streaming shows ever. And it was like, okay, yeah, that's where it's going. So,
It's all about this.
yep,
The
yep,
Johnny Manziel.
yep, yep.
It's all
But
about
they
the
better
business.
groom some stars though, because let's get into it. We were talking about Ant-Man before we came on, and so
Hmm.
the challenge is every era, as you know, the next stars
Hmm.
emerge, right?
That's
And now
right.
we got Shea is trying to emerge. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is trying to emerge, but Anthony Edwards, a lot of people took a little step back from him based on some of his comments after the loss. That was a night before last, and it's like he doesn't want to be a superstar. He doesn't want to be the face of the league. He's been clear about that.
Exactly. He made that clear. And he made it clear last year during the Olympics. And really, people, they pry into people's personal lives today as well. Back in our day, we didn't know anything about people's personal lives, but, he's allegedly fathered 4 kids in like a year and a half, and
Something like
he's
that.
only 23 years old. You don't want that. Do you want that to be the face of the league? Now that you're prying into people's, back in the day, you
Yeah.
and I would have never known that information about a
Right.
player.
Right.
But
Right.
but now,
I'll say it like this. He can have as many kids as he wants. If he's taking care of them, great. That's none of my business. Now, the problem
mhm,
is some of these guys, and for whatever reason, they get in these situations and it's like they in court. you know, for child
He is
support, stuff
taking
like that.
care of his children.
Right. So if that's happening, and then but there are other people where it doesn't happen that way. So I think that's I think that's just a nature of today. Because you're right, a lot of it's nothing new. Obviously,
Mm-mm.
we just know about
But
it
it
now.
we know about it now. But then on the other thing, it does show a level of recklessness on his part that you have a main girlfriend and you're having children outside of her, ranging from other rappers, babies, mamas to, that it does not a good look for the league at all.
Right. Right.
And I know that the commissioner, he's done a great job in, keeping, well, Stern did a good job too, but a lot of the players didn't like Stern because he was so stern. And this guy is more open, but you know, it's I don't. It will remain to be seen who will, but it will be a gradual, authentic rise
Yeah.
to who the face is going to be. It's just gonna. It's right in our face now. We just don't see it, and
Yeah.
it's gonna be like, oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
he's the face of the league. Someone that doesn't mind shaking hands and kissing babies like a politician. But until now, we still have LeBron and we still have Steph Curry in
Yeah.
the league. So, and even Giannis. So until then, we got a while before they grow into their maturity, and he might be receptive of being the face of the league.
Yeah.
But right now, the MVP and
Yeah.
his crazy dressing self, he's Superfly 2.0.
And he's Canadian too. You know,
Mm,
that's the other thing is the face of the league is probably going to be from somewhere else.
mhm.
It probably won't be. If you look at it, Anthony Edwards, okay, yeah, he's American, but Shea is from Canada.
He's from
You know,
Toronto.
yeah. So a lot of these guys now
Mhm.
are, Luca's from Lucaville. Um, where, uh, that's where he's from. Um,
uh,
but some of the best players are not American, and
no, this is true.
there's some controversy around that, and
Because I know a
not.
lot
I
of
mean,
people don't like that, you know.
exactly.
But you remember we had that movement maybe about 10 years ago with Steve Nash and then we had Dirk and there was some other European players with a real big influx of European players, maybe
Yeah,
about 10 years ago.
yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah.
Steve Nash had won back-to-back MVPs, much like the Joker, and people didn't like that.
Hmm. Yeah, but it's basketball. The best are the best, and it's. I mean, it's because it's not really subjective. It's on the court. You see it. You see who the
Mm,
best players are night
mm-hmm,
in and night out. And you look at a Giannis
mm-hmm,
or you know, um, Giannis is a force to be reckoned with every night. You look at a
mm-hmm.
Wembanyama, who
Oh
probably
yeah, he's
could be
coming
the
up.
face of the league. Yeah, with his skill
Mm-hmm.
set, he could probably be the face
It's
of the league.
crazy. No,
Yeah.
easily he could be. I like that idea. And I mean, look how quickly John Morant fell off the topic, fell off the you know, boat
Poof.
because he was said to be the next. And after that summer of mess he was in, we don't even talk about John Morant anymore.
Not in that same category.
Mm-mm.
He might, he's one of those guys that maybe he needs to get out of Memphis. You
You
know,
know, that
that
might be
helps guys
true.
sometimes. Sometimes that helps these young men to not
Because
be in
Memphis got
certain
a lot
situations.
going on. Memphis is a low key Houston slash
Hmm.
Atlanta. Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah.
a lot going on. And they were even saying Ice Trey. Trey might I can't think of his last name, but Ice Trey in
Oh, Trey
Atlanta.
Young.
I
Yeah.
remember they were even saying him at one point, and now he's on the trading block. He's always whispering about being on the trading blocks. It's like his game is slowed down too.
Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be some changes in
Mm-hmm.
with the way the salaries are and like we were just talking about the older guard getting older and right now
Mm-hmm.
there's no KD, no Steph, no LeBron, in the finals or even in the conference finals, right? Um, and this is
Sounds.
second year in a row. Second year in a row. No KD, no
Mm-hmm.
Steph, and no LeBron in the conference finals.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
so that
Mm-hmm.
torch is probably already passed. In that sense, because Minnesota got there twice. They got to the conference finals back to back years.
Yeah, sure did.
Um, and I don't see anybody if they stay healthy. I could see a good 4 to 6 year run for OKC if they stay healthy and can pay all those guys
Mm-hmm.
once they come up. Because they're all young, they're all and they still got a bunch of picks. I
Oh,
think they still have a lot of picks. So
Lord. Because I'm some young legs over there.
youngins,
They hopping out the gym.
youngins, and yeah. So if
And
they stay
just
healthy,
the
they're gonna
way
be
they
around.
support each other. When I started noticing how they all huddle around together after one is doing a post game interview, I was like, "Ooh, they're
Hmm.
on to something." I was like, this is a different cast right here.
Yeah,
A different kind of yeah, different kind of brotherhood. How they all just, it's not. They know Shay's the star, but they all just. It's much like when Steph when they do the intros over at Chase. Steph never really comes out like the rest of the players with his hands up or anything like that. He always kind of just like waits a while, or he'll just have the rest of the guys come with him into the huddle. He doesn't necessarily like all the spotlight, and that's how I look at OKC. They just okay, you got this post game interview on TNT. We're all gonna stand around and wrap our arms around each other and listen. That is OKC, right?
yeah,
That's not
yeah.
Minnesota. No,
No, it's
Minnesota.
OKC. They all stand in the back, and they play team basketball, and it's refreshing to see the kind of basketball they
There
play.
you go. Free
Uh,
ball. Free
it's
ball.
yeah, they just if you open, you'll get the ball, and they got the veteran Caruso is the veteran, and he's the defensive captain of that
Hmm.
team. I mean, Dort and those guys play great too, but Caruso is one. He's got the experience,
Yeah,
but he's got a ring already.
Caruso bounced around. Yeah.
But yeah, they're
You're
the
right.
total package.
Caruso is, they really are. And I don't know
Yeah.
anything about their coach. The coach has done a heck of a job.
Me either. In the background, not a lot of hey, look at me. But
Hmm.
another these young great coaches uh the coach of Boston, and there's some pretty good young coaches out there
Hmm.
right now.
It
Um
really is. Who else? Well, he's not young. He was one of our assistants over in Cleveland. The guy, I guess, he
oh
got
yeah,
coach of
Kenny
the year.
Atkins. Kenny Atkins.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Kenny Atkins. I mean, there are
Yeah.
names that that are not on the sizzle reel that you don't know. It's just not a name that you hear about, like a Doc Rivers. It
Right.
might be time for Doc to just go in and punch his card in and go on and
Yeah.
retire. It's yeah, these newfangled players, you got people like Pop retiring. It's like, and Pop can relate on every level. How much did you see the love Pop got? Just get chills when I saw those players that's not even on the team anymore flew in to be at
Flew
his press
in.
conference. What? And how
I saw that.
I sat right in front of Draymond. Draymond was getting emotional talking about that man. And he was like, man, he's like, you guys got me getting emotional talking about him and how he kept a pair of Draymond's shoes and did something and it just touched Draymond. The man is just authentic.
Yeah.
And these players see through the bull. You can't be yelling at these players today, much like what probably Mike Malone. All right, Anthony, check your email. Much like keep telling that cat to call me. Much like Mike Malone in Denver. They allegedly he got fired because of the Bobby Knight type of antics,
Yeah.
yelling, and you ain't gonna yell at a grown
That don't
man.
work. That don't work no
That
more.
hurt.
That don't. But even because I remember one of the playoff games when the Warriors was playing Houston, that when they announced that Pop was going to be retiring, Steve Kerr and Ime Udoka, because they're both from that Pop tree,
From the
had
tree.
Pop shirts on, right, and were just talking about
Sure
how much
did.
he affected them, and so his imprint on the game of basketball is enormous, and
Enormous.
the
He's
five
got like a Bill
championships.
Walsh coaching tree,
Yeah, yeah,
He's
he's
definitely
really
gonna
changed the
have
game.
that. hmm
Yeah,
He's gonna
and
have that.
I think weren't they the first uh organization in basketball to put a woman on the coaching staff? I
Yes,
think they were
they
first.
with they were the first.
I think so.
I can see her face now. Just
Yeah,
real pretty eyes.
yeah.
But yeah, she was the first. And now you don't even think twice now about it.
No.
I know that we had Chelsea. Well, Chelsea was one of the she was the one that took care. We were the one of the first to have a woman as far as taking care of the injuries for the players. And
Okay.
she left when you remember Dan Martinez, who was in PR for the Warriors. She left, and it was three of them that left, and was on Steve Kerr's staff left for Atlanta. Dan's still
Mm.
there. Dan's with the Hawks. I don't know if Chelsea is, but yeah, we have one of the first female, if you will, cut women
Right.
in
Right.
the league.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing I think Pop's legacy, and what definitely Steve Kerr took on is they speak out. Um,
hmm
he
hmm
he did not hold his tongue. He spoke out on the issues of today, on the right side of the issues of the day. And gentlemen who look like him, who have a lot to lose, tend not to do
Come
that.
on, come on, come on.
And he would call it like he saw it, time and time and time again. So
hmm
I respect him for that, because
hmm
you don't see that happening with enough of that demographic to make
You
change.
don't, and I'm telling you, and that's how change is made. Because when you always have the people, us being us, minorities, constantly saying how we're wronged, it's gonna fall on deaf ears eventually because it's like, yeah, we know people of color are misrepresented, da, 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 da. But then when you have other people like my girlfriend Janie, she doesn't necessarily like for me to say this because she didn't realize that prior to it was kind of a thing. Oh, Fee, I think that's your imagination. But it wasn't until a man threw a racial slur towards us because us together, and she was so happy to see me. She was holding my hand, and it's not because he thought we were a couple. He didn't like the fact that we had a sisterhood, and he
Hmm.
let that be known. And she freaked. That changed everything. It opened. She said, "You opened my eyes to so much." And now I tell people, "Hey, you don't know what people of color go through because X, Y, and Z happened to my friend Felicia." So
Hmm.
you got to speak out.
Yeah, yeah, and they did. So, but yes,
hmm
shout out to Pop. He's gonna be missed and his influence on basketball. But
I love that man.
yeah, so before we take another step forward, who you like tomorrow night? Like Indy or you like the Knicks?
Oof. Well, I want the Knicks. I don't like Indy. Period. I don't. I don't like them. They're good, very good, and they're gonna have that home crowd behind them. If the Knicks can jump out early like they did this yesterday, they were playing like bats out of hell. So
Desperate. They were desperate.
there you go. There you
Yep.
go. They didn't want to go to Cancun.
Nah.
So
Nah. Nah. But yeah, but watch the referee. That's all I'm saying. Watch out who's refereeing tomorrow, because I think they announced it like 10 o'clock in the morning or something like that. The referees
yeah,
for the game.
yeah, about that time, yeah.
So
Because you
just
now you know good and well, like you said off camera, they don't want that as the header for the NBA finals, man. No matter how good Halliburton is playing, New York is a sexy pick. all the stars, the Tracy Morgans, the Spike Lee, everybody courtside in New York, the big bright lights of New York. That's where they want to be.
Oh, for
That's
sure.
basketball, the organ playing through the
Oh
whole
yeah,
game.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
there ain't no DJ up in there. They got an organist.
yeah. That's a brother too, I
Oh,
believe. Because I think I'm pretty sure I follow him on Instagram. I think that's the brother
really? It
playing the
must be
organ
a
with the
must
Knicks.
be a switch off because I saw a brother,
Yeah,
but
I'm
it
seeing
wasn't
him
a
find
brother
it.
like me and you know. He was a brother of a different opaque type of shade. Huh.
Huh. Yeah, I
I
saw a guy
gotta
on there. He was playing it. Well,
I
they say
gotta
he's been
go.
since
I gotta go.
1969. Yeah,
I need to go get to a game there. Oh my God, Madison Square Garden? What?
yeah. That would be nice.
You
That
couldn't
would be
tell me
nice.
nothing.
That would be cool. Oh, I stand
Man.
corrected. Now I know I saw a brother playing, and I guess
He
he's
might have
not.
been a fill-in. He might could
Maybe
have
he's a
been a
fill-in
fill-in.
because he was
Yeah.
posting on Instagram, and that's what caught my eye. And I was like,
Oh
oh, okay,
yeah. Oh yeah.
okay,
That man can't be the only one, you know. God forbid he gets sick. They gotta have a fill-in.
yeah. So, but yeah, they do their thing in New York. So
Hmm.
yeah. Let's see. So, we talked basketball, Kaminga. Let's go into the Dwight Clark celebration. We want to talk about. We got some pictures we want to
Sure.
show.
So we have a friend, Keon Johnson, and Keon does um he double dips and does PR work for the Warriors, the Raiders. I met him through I don't know how I met Key. I know because of Key, I met Yolanda Adams because he was doing the Grambling years ago. I think that's how we first connected. He brought Grambling to Cal Berkeley. Remember when they came to Cal Berkeley? So
Hmm.
here they were having a panel discussion with Dr. Z, who is a longtime photographer for the 49ers. He's the gentleman with the hat on his head on the panel longtime photographer. He's sitting there with Fred Warner and some couple of the other old heads, and just talking about momentous moments with the 49ers. And it was a part of the Dwight Clark Legacy series. It's in its fifth year, and Keon spearheads that. And it's to help raise money for former players hard times long after they retire. So I got my video guy here, Dave Gangona, with the hat on, with his buddy, longtime buddy, and my one of my favorite 49ers of all time. There he is. That's Ronnie Lott, baby. Still looking like Ronnie Lott, right?
42. 42. The only 49er
42.
jersey I have is
Man, I'm
42.
telling you, when 42 was in the game, I knew everything was going to be all right. That man looked good. He still looks good. And so we have it's going to be a picture coming up. Well, for this, every year they select a 49er who best exemplifies the teamwork and the camaraderie that Dwight Clark brought as a teammate when he played for the 49ers. And past winners have been Fred Warner. Let's see, if my memory serves me. Fred Warner, uh, Dre Greenlaw in 2024. Fred Warner won it in 2023. Eric Armstead 2022. George Kittle in 2021. And there he is. There's Fred Warner right there talking to Dr. Z, Mr. Z, the longtime photographer for the Niners. Shout out to Jerome as well, who's a brother that shoots. Then we have Garrison Hurst. I forgot we had Garrison Hurst.
Harrison
Garrison,
Hurst.
Garrison Hurst is sitting there with Crazy Man. And I just had his name on the tip of my tongue. You
Oh,
know
that's
who it
Charles.
is.
Yeah, yeah,
Off
yeah,
Haley.
yeah,
Off
yeah.
Haley, yeah. And I say that in all tongue in cheek when I say crazy man. He was a fabulous player. I just hated when he went to the Cowboys.
Yeah, that wasn't cool.
No, that wasn't cool at all. There should be another picture
This one keeps
with
going off.
this year's winner of but if not, that's fine. That the winner of the Dwight Clark Legacy
Oh,
Award.
I got it. I got it here.
uh,
Hold on.
okay,
Yeah. We got it.
is
Uh,
the defensive back
this one.
Diamador Lenore, and then we have Kerry Kittles, who's Kerry Kittles. That's a basketball player. George Kittle,
George Kittle.
who was the 2021 recipient of the award. So what he got was a bronze football, and he joins a esteemed group of guys that are still 49ers and former 49ers. So congratulations to him for exemplifying Dwight's spirit of teamwork and camaraderie.
Hmm. And you want to give a shout out to Keon, right?
Keon Johnson, shout out
Salute. I got a
to
Keon story. This was back when the Niners were in Candlestick, and you had hooked me up. I met him through you. We were at a Raider game, I think. So I was.
mhm.
This was years ago. So I was taking my oldest daughter at the time. I think she was about 12, 13, 14. And
Oh
we
man.
were going. Yeah, it's going way back. We were going
Ooh,
to
I
the
feel
game,
old.
and Keon, you had said reach out to Keon because I had tickets, and
Mm.
he got us sideline pregame passes. So,
You
and
know I don't.
back
My memory ain't worth a
I
dang.
this was back at
But
Candlestick. They
I
were playing the
love hearing
Redskins,
that.
and we got out on the field
Wow.
before the game. I got a lot of video and stuff. And this was back when the Niners, when they would bring the players out, because they used to come out of the dugout, the Candlestick. They came
They
out of
sure
the
did.
and all the kids would line up, and they would slap hands. So my daughter got to slap hands with the Niners as they was
No.
coming out, and
No.
got a picture with. That was back when Mike Singletary was coach, and yeah,
Oh.
she got the, and she was a Niner fan, but that was such a memorable moment for her because she's out there on the field with these guys that are just giants,
Oh,
and they're
they're
running
giant.
by and slapping hands, and it was an amazing experience. So Keon, I'll never forget you for that, my brother. You really hooked us up
Oh.
that day. So, and he didn't know me from Adam. He only knew me through you.
And he took my word for it. So that's touches me. It
Yeah.
touches me to hear that. And when you talk about good guys, Wag spoke so highly of you last night. He called to check on me. I had a little bout in the hospital, had some liquid that needed to be taken out of me. So so he was calling to check on me, and then for a while we laughed, but we'll talk offline about it. I told him to reach out to you, and he's like, he spoke so highly of you, and we love Mike Wagaman.
Wags, that's the man.
Wags is man. Wags has been through one heck of a fight, and yet his light still shines. And we're just a big family, even Eddrick, even though you're not boots on the ground like I am, you do the boots on the ground behind the scenes, and you still are a part of our core group. We're all still a family, whether you're always at the games or not. People know who
Yeah.
Eddrick is. Keon. We're all just, Wags from Raiders,
Yeah, for
and
sure.
all just a family. Our media family is just like no other. I'm
Yeah.
grateful for it.
I've told you the story that when you first started, I started, coming to the games with you, to the Raider games and Niner games, stuff like that. Coming into that press box, some of those guys were old, hard boiled, probably didn't want to see me there, but there were a lot of folks who gravitated to you and would just give you love, and it was just cool. It was just a good
Mhm.
vibe. People weren't out
Mhm.
trying to out story each other or out try to do this and
Mhm.
that. And what did you see? And they would I would see like people be huddling, going
Mhm.
over the stats. Did you see when he did? Yeah, well, that
Mhm.
was in, yeah. And people are
Yes.
writing their stories. Yeah, that was in the third quarter,
Yes.
right? Thank you. Yeah, I was in the third quarter. And that it was
Yes.
just it felt like that. And it was
That's the
just it
beauty
was
of football. You don't
mm,
see that in basketball.
really.
That's the beauty of football. Oh, they're up in the cut. It is a couple of times Dave and I kind of encroached on the what's the athletic people for that over in the corner, they'll sometimes they're even in the bleachers. I mean, not the bleachers, they're in the stand after the game because they don't want anyone to hear what they're talking about, whether kind of they're getting their, quotes together,
Sure.
whatever angle they're gonna take with it. And I get that, but you just don't see that at football. Football is like, hey, if you're somebody, remember we'd have to throw our questions out. Basketball is more structured and they point to you and you ask a question. But football, you got to get in there and, get your question out. And people always respect each other. Oh, go ahead and finish asking your question.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah. It's just a
I don't
great
know if it's
experience.
because it's so many of us. Yeah, I don't know if it's just because it's so many of us, in football, because it's like more than it is at basketball. I don't know, just cut from a different. And you're right. You'd have the older guys sometimes that weren't always so receptive of receiving you. But God just blessed me in that sense. I just had maybe one guy that and I'll call him by name, Jerry McDonald, wasn't always very receptive of me. And I think it was just I had to prove myself. He needed to know that I wasn't there to look at have clothed men in the locker room or what have you. I think there was just, I had to prove myself to him. And that's, he respects me in his way. And that it doesn't bother me. I understand that. But everyone else coming from a community paper, they never look down on me. And I'm just so grateful for that.
Yeah.
And I,
Yeah, they
I
had your
guess
back. As you
maybe
could
it's
tell
my light, my
they
energy.
had your
They
back.
have my
I could
back, man.
they did. I saw it.
Yeah.
I saw it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. They
but yeah,
really
shout
do.
out to
And they still
Wags.
do.
Yeah.
Shout out
Yeah.
to Wags.
Yep.
It's my
Yep.
heart.
I think one day we gotta get Wags and maybe a couple others on it and talk about that the sports writer and or
Yeah.
the media and just what they go through because like I said, having
Yes.
seen it, it's not easy. It's it's a skill. There's an art to it. It's almost
That's
like
what
you
he and I
gotta.
are talking about.
It's true.
Hmm.
It's true.
He
'Cause you
opened
gotta
my
be
eyes
seen, but
to a
not be
lot.
seen, you know what I mean? You gotta be visible,
Yes.
but not visible, and for me, it was
Yes.
hard because I couldn't cheer, right?
Right.
Playing the Niners, I'm like, "How am I gonna not cheer in the press box and the Niners are playing? How is this gonna work?"
Right. And hold on,
But I
I had
did
to
it.
suck it up and watch my adopted nephew get his first NFL touchdown. And I'm sitting there in Baltimore rocking like this. And they're all laughing at because so they're like, yeah, your boy got that touchdown. I know you're a proud auntie. And I'm just like, part of me wants to cry and part of me wants to cheer. And I'm the proud auntie, but I'm emotional too. But I had to suck it up. I was just like, okay, touchdown. You know,
Yeah, keep it moving.
keep it moving.
Keep it moving. Keep it moving. Um, but yeah, so we kind of it's okay. All right, Google. I'm gonna say something to Google right now. Look, stop listening on my phone. We were talking and my Google
Oh
AI popped up.
Lord,
And
stop
I
it.
even said stop listening to my phone, and it typed out stop listening to my phone. All right, I might have to turn that off. That's getting a little crazy. No, that's because
Watching
my phone
me,
updated today.
watching
Yeah,
me.
it's like come on now,
That's
that's
your
a little too
song.
intrusive.
Watching me. It's scary. It's so intrusive.
Whew.
So intrusive. There's some stuff will
Yeah,
probably pop up later that I mentioned with some names. They'll probably come up on my phone later.
exactly.
Crazy.
You want to shift now and let's go keep it in the NFL and a couple things.
Talk
One,
about Purdy.
Brock Purdy. Shout out to Brock Purdy. He got paid, and some people didn't see that coming, but I kind of figured that they was gonna pay that cat.
Yeah.
And Niner fans aren't
They
all
had to.
unified against Brock because some people were wondering. I guess because they kind of had a mediocre already, but it was more than mediocre year last year. But his numbers, he still had a better QBR rating than Patrick Mahomes last year, which believe it or
He
not.
did. He did. I couldn't believe
Yeah,
that. I'd heard that.
yeah. So,
Yeah,
but
I
let me
heard
break
that.
it down. So Brock Purdy gets paid. He gets a 5-year, $265 million deal extension, 181
Ooh.
guaranteed, 181 guaranteed. 40 million signing bonus.
Ooh.
But now it's kind of cap friendly because it's
Okay.
backloaded. So, for example, his cap hit this year is only $9.1 million. And then his cap hit next year is $11.9 million. But he's got
Interesting.
an optional bonus next year of 37.75. So they've kind of they're
Woo!
they're and
So
it's
they're kind of waiting and seeing if by
it's
the
the way they
third year what
structured
he
it
does.
exactly, and they've structured it where they're being very creative. And this is how Eddie D used to get over, because my dad used to always
Mm.
tell me, he said, um, back when the Niners, when they didn't have a salary cap, the Niners would bring in Dion, they'd bring in, you name it, they'd bring
Oh,
him
we
in,
didn't
right?
worry about nothing back in the day.
No,
We knew the Niners was
no,
gonna do us
right.
solid. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Carmen Policy and them guys. My dad always
Come
said,
on
yeah, it
now.
wasn't
Come
the front or
on.
the back. My father said it was just right. Look at the side of the contract, not the front and the back. Look at the side of the contract, because
Your
that's where all the
daddy.
real stuff is.
That's
But
right. That's right.
Brock, he got his money, and I'm, as a Niner fan, and I'm a fan, so I'm emotional about the Niners, obviously. But objectively,
Absolutely.
the young man can play some quarterback, and people say, well, that's because he had all the weapons around him. I'm like, well, name me a quarterback who hasn't had weapons around him who's been successful. It doesn't happen very often. Maybe Dan Marino, maybe, but he had some great Hall of Fame wide receivers, I believe,
Yeah,
or
he
at least
was
close
super
to it, all pro. At
duper.
least they were all
Yeah.
pro. So,
Yeah.
I'm
I would say the guy, who would we say? Would we say the gentleman who came to the Niners later that won the Super Bowl in Baltimore that year, when it was pretty much defense that helped them win that Super Bowl?
I know you're
Trent
talking about
Dilfer.
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 Right, right, right.
Hmm. I
Yeah, he
mean, who
was
did he really have?
nobody, but they had Ray Lewis.
That's what I'm
So,
saying. The defense.
right, yeah, the defense did it exactly.
Uh-huh.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I think the Niners, it's a smart move. If you look at the NFC right now, there's maybe a handful of quarterbacks you take over Brock. I mean, you take Jaden Daniels, you take Jalen Hurts, obviously. Just in the NFC. Um, maybe, I mean,
You would take Patrick Mahomes, of course.
yes, yeah, definitely.
AFC.
But he's top 10. He's definitely a top 10 NFL
He's
quarterback.
definitely top 10.
Right. So I'm not
He's
mad at him,
definitely.
but he gets hate, and but now here it is though.
Wow.
You got your money. You got to prove it. You got to
Hey,
step up.
the pressure's on now.
It
The
is. It
pressure's
is.
really on. He's under a microscope now.
Yep.
He doesn't wow me. I don't see anything special. He doesn't have enormous height or anything like that. He's not necessarily fast. He's kind of got a little bit of a
Yeah, he's just a football
beat
player.
to
He's
him.
just a great
He's
football
just a
player.
he's a flat-footed
Yeah.
football player.
Yeah.
We're so accustomed to seeing Vic-esque type of quarterbacks now that
Yeah.
it's a new movement now of
Speaking of Mike Vick, I'm taking it way off, but did you see there's on Netflix, there's a documentary on Brett Favre that is absolutely amazing.
child.
Did you watch it?
Yes, and I fell asleep on the end of it. I gotta go back and watch it. That daggone thing was hanging. If you have not
Privilege.
watched that, you guys go check.
Privilege. All I'll say is
And
privilege.
I love
Wow.
how he's getting drugged. I love it because everybody was always, oh, Brett
You
Favre.
know what though? Okay, for me, I'm gonna say it like this. No charges filed? None? That's, to me, that's the
Zero.
part that's frustrating,
The
is,
privilege. The privilege.
you know,
Privilege.
that's yeah, it's you commit
For
that
that, but
level of
Mike
fraud.
Vick gets it for
Yeah,
dogs. But this
right.
cat,
You
ha,
commit that level of
robbing
knowingly,
people
with text messages and everything, knowingly admitting
mhm,
to fraud,
and sexually
and
harassing this young lady.
exactly, exactly. And
No, my
it looks like she
cousin,
wasn't the first. She wasn't the only one.
and she wasn't the only one.
No.
No, my
But yeah.
cousin Winky in Mississippi. I you would love to hear him talk about it with his deep Southern accent about how don't nobody pay him no mind down there. You know, he my cousin said my cousin said he need to be worried about his daughter, how she get around, if you know what I
Oh.
mean.
Oh.
And with the brothers. But yeah,
Oh.
he is something else, and I think he had done some stuff in college that turned a lot of people off in the community. So no one is like checking for him. Like he
No.
says people see him at the gas station and the Walmart and they're just like, oh, his house takes up the freaking corner. His house is so big, you don't even see the house. All you
Wow.
see is you see the gate with a F, with a beautiful F, and then you just see rows of trees. That's all you see. It's
Hmm.
just trees. You know it's his house, but you
Yeah.
just see trees.
Yeah.
And
It's a
I'm
great
like,
documentary though. It's a great
yeah,
uh
he did a good
honest
job.
high. I mean the level of the caliber of interviewees was I was impressed with some of the writers and the people that they had on
Yeah,
there. Ron
yeah.
Wolf. Ron Wolf, really? Wow. They got him on the record, the super agent GM
And
slash guru guy.
yeah. And the
Right.
other guy with the curly hair that the reporter that used to be on CNN, that was
Yeah.
talking about
I can't remember his name.
uh, uh
I know you're
who
talking
was
about.
basically you okay, as long as you know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, it's called Untold: The Fall of Favre, and it's on Netflix right now. So if you haven't seen it, watch it because one, you will be angry. At least I
You'll be
was.
angry.
I
I
was angry.
just hot as fish grease.
Right, because it always seems like
Hot.
they get away with playing with people who need resources the most, and they always prey on
Mm-hmm.
those people. They
Mm-hmm.
you rob from the least of thee, and to me, that's just low. it's just low.
They
But
still
anyway,
have the worst. I mean, Mississippi has the worst. They said the worst outcome for people, the hardest for them to get like welfare services.
yeah,
Yes, because people
yeah,
like but they stealing from
scamming the
them.
money, taking the
Yeah,
money, and
yeah. A lot of
so
people
yeah,
living in the below the poverty line.
exactly. So
Hmm.
yeah,
It's
Netflix, The
unfortunate.
Untold, The Fall of Favre. Check it out; it's really good. All right, back to
Hmm.
what we were talking about. I know I went down a rabbit hole, but I wanted
It's all
to
right.
trigger that. Let's see. So we were talking about that. Oh, Travis Hunter. He had some comments on Mr. Hunter. He had a perspective he wanted to delve into.
Hmm. Well, I was 22 when I got married, and I remember asking my sister once my marriage was over, why didn't you guys say something to me? And she said, the sister said, "Well, could nobody tell you nothing? You have made up your mind." And now when I look back at that's true. I knew what we had, and we were married 23 years when it was all said and done. So, that's possible that he could do that too. Because we definitely, I don't feel like we wanted to prove everybody wrong. I'm just going to speak from my perspective.
Sure.
But I know them, I couldn't fathom. I had so much opposition from his side. That was bad enough. But the fact that you have the world attacking your girl, it only brings you closer. It's not gonna,
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna tear them apart. It's gonna bring them closer. Now, when he starts hitting the road and seeing how women will go above and beyond to come in your room, and how the handlers will set it up so you can slip and fall and have a little extra marital fun, when you guys have that first big argument, and then you're thinking, oh, no one's gonna find out, or your teammates sister has a crush on you, and you just don't know what angle it's gonna come from.
Right.
So, he seems to be a young man who has his head on right, but baby, you gotta protect your assets. and not
Yeah.
having a everybody's not like a Kobe situation. He almost lost everything to Vanessa when he got in trouble that time in Denver. I mean, in Colorado. And trust and believe, just by seeing her on video and how she's made it about her in his most best moments, how she still managed to scowling about her. She's not gonna go away lightly. She's not. She's shown that she'll take him for everything. I can't see her being fair. I can't, especially if
Yeah.
she has a baby.
Yeah. It's I mean, it's everybody's situation is different, and I don't know the details of their relationship, but I do know that those people in the public eye like that, it's always much more challenging to
Mhm.
stay committed. It's just, that's just the nature of how it
Exactly.
is.
So many
Um,
temptations, and now you got social
yeah,
media with it.
yeah, yeah. Now, but on the flip side, from everything that's been reported, and in college and everything else, he's a fine, upstanding young man. I mean,
Yes, he
that's
is.
that's the narrative. We all, whether that's 100% true or not, well, I don't know, but that's the narrative
And
right
he's
now.
very loyal. He's a
Exactly.
very loyal young man. I don't know if you know about he didn't go with Nike because they wouldn't offer his brother in high school. They wouldn't offer him an NIL deal.
Really,
And
I hadn't heard that.
yeah, and his brother got one through Adidas. So that's why he went with Adidas.
Hmm.
Because basically he's doing a Giannis. Giannis is
Mm,
like, if my brothers can't be on the team, then you might as well, trade me. Or, Giannis does that. It's got to be a part of the family business. And for that young man to already recognize that, that's huge. So
yeah,
now his brother is set up now. He can eat off the table, his own table now. It doesn't have to be a situation where his brother's constantly on him. He's got his own stuff now. And I
yeah.
and I thought that's admirable of him. Now I'm curious. I don't want to make anything out of it because media will make a mountain out of a molehill. Because at first they said none of the Sanders were present, which is they were there, but Dion was not there. So
Hmm.
I'm wondering. I know Dion had tried to speak to him about protecting him, said everything, and I don't think Dion. Well, I don't know him, but I would hope that he didn't not come because he was disappointed that he got married. This is not about you.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's gonna be. It remains to be seen. I mean, he's got to ball out first of all, and on the field. I
Thank
mean,
you.
a lot of
Thank you.
pressure on the young man.
Yeah, because I don't
Uh,
know what's guaranteed in his contract.
right, right.
He's,
And
he's got a
two,
big one.
a lot of. I just hope that he doesn't allow people to get in their circle to start, because how people, with the media and people will try to just to be messy, and
Thank you.
I'm
Thank
sure they
you.
gotta protect themselves from that, but.
Hmm.
But yeah, so it's gonna be, it's one of the most interesting stories in the NFL is his
Hmm.
career, and is he gonna, how many snaps is he gonna play defensively? How many snaps is he gonna play on the offensive side of the
Right,
ball?
right. Because he's going to
You
be
know,
playing both. They
yeah,
slowly bringing that back into the game where you're playing both
right,
sides again, like
exactly.
Dion did.
Like Charles Woodson did it.
Charles Woods and
Guys,
Andre Rison did, or did he?
not to the level of Dion and Charles Woodson. No,
Hmm.
no, but
Yeah, it's been so long. I can't even remember anyone else.
I think now, because of the investment in these young men, I think it's,
Mhm.
because I don't see him playing 100 plays in NFL in a game. There's just so many opportunities to be injured,
Mm,
and the season is so long, and it takes so much. I think the coaches are going to probably have to manage that. And
mhm,
where do you help the team the most? Is it offensively or defensively? And
mhm.
I think for his career, it's probably going to be defensive first, because I think that's where he really, really shines.
Yeah.
Because in the NFL, yeah, I can't see him playing a 12 play drive, 6-minute drive on offense, and then turn around and come back out on the field on the defense.
What? With them
I just
grown men?
I don't. That's going
It's
to be very difficult.
that's different than college. Yeah,
Right, couple plays here and there,
fast
but
paced game.
right. So that's going to be a challenge. But maybe there's something new. Maybe we're going to see something we've never seen before. But I
Hmm.
don't think it's going to be an every down starter on both sides of the ball. That's going to be
Hmm.
very hard to do.
It's gonna
Very
be
hard to do.
extremely hard. And back to the support that he'll receive. I don't know what kind of organization the Jaguars wars are. Hopefully they're a solid organization that will equip and protect this young man, and that they've got
Yeah.
some solid veterans that will also look after him, because we don't really hear about, like we used to, older players really looking after young players. It's
Right.
almost like,
Right.
today they resent them because, and back in our day, we'd have to, remember back in the day, we'd have to wait forever to see a player that was drafted get in a game.
They had
We
to wait
didn't
their
see
turn.
what we saw in preseason, if that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you had to wait your turn. So, you know, um, I don't know what kind of, or if, how their chaplain situation works. I just hope, and really, I do pray for that young man, that he had that, even that she has the support that she needs, because I don't want to judge her too much, because I was judged. And, and when you hear audio and you see videos and someone looks like they're unhappy, you can take any narrative and run with that. They're
Right.
two young people who are in love. They're not hurting anybody. I just shake my head because I'm like, young man, protect yourself. But he loves her, and only he knows. And I hope that, she will encourage him as a wife is supposed to do, and support him and brings out the best in him,
Yeah.
because you know how it is. It's going to be they're going to have quite the test.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be tough, and as things, because the season and you look at that team,
Mhm.
they weren't very good last year. So,
No, no.
and they've got
They,
a
come
100 200
on,
million dollar quarterback, so
come
it's a lot of
on,
pressure on this team.
come
So,
on. A
it
lot of pressure. A new coach.
yeah, yeah.
Come
So,
on. My cousins are season ticket holders, and they're not happy. They weren't happy last year. They were not happy.
yeah, they were on the
So
come
there's
up
a
for a
lot of
couple of
pressure.
years. You thought they were gonna ascend,
Yes.
and
It was
Jacksonville fell
after
off.
the think about it, after the court. What was that good cornerback that they had, and that ended up going to the
Oh, they
Rams?
they traded I can't think of his name, but I know you're talking about. I can't think of his name right now. Actually, he's on the trading block again, I
They
believe.
were, he's trying to get out of Miami. They're trying to get him out of
Yeah,
Miami. He didn't do nothing
yeah,
out there, and he
yeah,
should just stayed his butt put.
yep.
He should just stayed his butt in Jacksonville. See, you go to a smaller market, then you go to a bigger market like LA, you get exposed.
Yeah.
A la Nnamdi Asamoah. Got to Philly, and I couldn't believe that my favorite Raider was playing the way he was playing.
Oh, they was burning that
You,
cat.
man, he got to the
Yeah,
NFC, and it was a whole
it was different. It was
whole
different.
other ball game. It was
Yeah, so
different.
that's a story to look out for, and it's the NFL is right here. So next month training camp.
Next
So
month,
it's
yeah.
on.
And then, and training camp, they said they were gonna, maybe we can shoot up there. That I
Oh, that's right.
hadn't
It goes
heard
back in
anyone.
Napa, right?
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah, let's do that. Let's
that's
do that.
smart. That's very smart, and it makes me happy to hear that,
Yeah,
because you got to keep that connection with Oakland. The
exactly.
Bay Area.
Exactly. Exactly. So shout out to the NFL because it's coming.
It's
Well,
coming.
before we get out of here, I know we had a not so nice situation with Clay
Oh,
Thompson, and I'm gonna let you take this
yeah.
one. As you know, I don't own a pet, but I want you to share what that's like because
Oh
Yeah,
boy.
he lost Rocco.
Clay Thompson, former Golden State Warrior forward, well known for his love of his son, his dog son, Rocco. And I just Googled, and you should see everything comes up about Rocco. So at the age of 13. It didn't say when, but he was on a radio show that announced that his beloved bulldog Rocco had passed. Rocco was popular. Rocco was a part of a bobblehead series with his daddy Clay, and it's because it's kind of making me laugh as a dog mom. It says legendary bulldog Rocco Thompson dies at 13. I mean, Rocco heading, okay? And he loved his dog so much. You look at interviews with him with Rocco, it seemed like Rocco died young because it just seemed like yesterday he got Rocco, but oh, look at him.
Mhm.
Yeah, he was a little fella then. Oh, yeah, I know his heart is breaking. I've lost 3 dogs.
Hmm.
And I tell you, it doesn't get any easier. Well, the last one for me was better because she ran. So I had to put her out
Hmm.
of her misery. But I but I was making her suffer, and then my friend said, please stop doing that to your dog. She's sick. Put her out of her misery. Why are you doing this? And I gotta send you. I know I'm going off topic, but I saw a video. Lord have mercy. Are you familiar with the comedian D Lai? D
Mm-mm.
apostrophe Lai.
Mm-mm.
Oh Lord, Eddrick. There's a picture of a dog. I kid you not. Limbs as dead as yarn. Arms, they got him in an apparatus, like it's pulling his body apart, and got another dog pulling him. And the comedian said, if you don't put that dog to sleep, like that's
Oh.
animal. Now that's animal cruelty to me. Why are you keeping that dog here with us? The dog is just doing like this, and the other dog just dragging him around. Dog is in like a magic trick. You know how it has a lady, this part is squared and the lady's arms are moving around. It looked like something like that. So I don't know if I go sick or if he just went ahead and put him to sleep. But he had a good life. He had a better life than most dogs. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. I know
all
it's
the
important to
blessings.
people, people who have
Yeah, I
pets,
love
and
my
I know that
babies.
yeah, it's real important. So yeah, we shout out to Clay and I've
Yeah, he
back
hasn't
in the
had the
day.
best year.
Yeah, I used to have staff members. I remember a lot of some of our staff members, they would call out their dogs. You had to put their dogs down. They I can't come into work today. Well, I had to put my dog
I
down.
don't mean to laugh, but
Okay.
it's true.
You
But
know?
it's let me tell you, I had to get Christy because I refused to pick my dog up when my first dog when he passed. I called her crying. I said I can't do it. I can't. She's always been good with animals and bugs. She's never been scary like that, and I couldn't do it. He was stiff as a board. I said, oh no.
She was the cleaner. She was the cleaner, huh? She had to come over and
Clean up a woman.
she had to come get the dog, huh?
She is so good about stuff like that. And then I had to pick up Pete, my dog Petey, bless his heart. He was already a little slow. They overbred his mother, and he never progressed like his other sibling that I had. He couldn't get on the couch. She would just jump up on the couch, and he would just, and he would be in the heat, and excuse me, he would be pumping the air. He didn't even know what to do. He didn't know what he was next to his sister and just do the motion. And I said, oh, he was a little touched. And poor thing, he my stomach, he he was having strokes. and he would break out. He would break out. Don't laugh at my
You,
baby. He
you
would.
know that joke. That joke just wrote itself, right? You do know that.
I mean,
You know, yeah. that joke.
oh,
That joke just wrote
I
itself,
just.
Felicia.
Oh my goodness! I just played right into that. Yeah, but but he. I had to pick him up, and the people told me to put him in a shoebox. I said, in a shoebox? How cruel! But I took my new boots out and put them in the shoebox, and I said,
Didn't even have to
took him
poke
to
no
the.
holes in it, huh?
And I picked no holes in it for him to breathe. Took it right on over to the.
So you took it to the
Oh,
you take him to the pound
Lord!
or what?
Oh, took him right to the veterinarian.
To the
Adam
veterinary. Oh, okay.
and
Okay.
Adam cremated him.
Hmm.
Adam cremated. Yeah, they're all cremated and in their little boxes. And yeah, I don't. Yeah, I took. She's the only one. Coco's the only one I actually took to the vet so they could put her to sleep. Then they said, "Do you wanna? Do you wanna? Do you want to be in the room?" I said, "Hell no! I don't want to be in there when my baby's dying. She already dying. I ain't gonna be there." She. Let me tell you, when that dog she looked at me like, "Thank you, mom." She took one look at me before they took her to the back, and I leaned in. I said, "Mommy loves you." She looked at me like, "Mommy, thank you," because I'm in pain. She really did. She was just like, "Take me back, take me out my misery,"
Hmm.
and I was okay with that. I didn't want to be in there holding her hand while she drifted off. No, I mean holding her paw. No, I'm not doing all that. Mm-mm,
Yeah.
mm-mm.
I know, like I said, I see, people and that's what Clay's going through right now, I'm sure,
Yeah,
is because
yeah.
I imagine the house, because dogs make noise, they run around and you
Yes.
know, you don't
Like
have
when
that.
my
So,
bird, I still listen for the bird. I do.
hmm.
Oh, she's talking about Petey. Petey was scared to walk on the grass, Eddrick. That's how touched that dog was touched. The sweetest dog in the world. But sneaky. When I was living in Discovery Bay, lady calls me on the phone. I'm thinking the dogs are in the backyard sunbathing. She goes, "Hello, God, that you want?" And I was lady. I said, "Who is this? Stop playing games with me." She said, "I have Petey." Petey done snuck out on the main road walking. As scary as he was bold enough to sneak out. Could have been hit. And she even said then, she said, "You have the sweetest dog."
Mm.
He was so my sister, she cried like a baby when she was like, "Not my pig," and they never had dogs, but my family, they loved my animals, even though they weren't dog people either.
Hmm.
But yeah, Christy's got stories. Who's in
Yeah.
your room, Christy? One of the dogs? Yeah, I think one of the little boxes are in here for one of them. At least I didn't cremate the bird. I wanted to plant the bird somewhere. I'm not gonna tell you where the bird is.
Well, maybe
Yeah.
we'll want to know what you did with the bird, Felicia. So we'll keep we'll, we'll keep that one.
Oh yeah, well I'll keep that
Yeah,
on
you can
hush.
keep that one to
Yeah,
yeah,
my
yeah.
my niece my niece Jamila got a good hard laugh about that. A good hard laugh.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's it.
Wow.
That's it. So all the best uh oh, and speaking of basketball, Riley Curry is headed into junior high. I mean high school. What the heck? Well, she just graduated. She's 12. So that means she's going to high school, right?
Yeah. 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 Oh, well, I guess this
Or middle
we
school.
used to call middle school. Well, yeah, I guess it is kind of middle school. Well, no, because we went to junior high. They don't have junior high anymore. Remember, when we was kids, it was
Right. It was
elementary,
junior
junior high, and then high school, and then they went to middle school,
in the
which
ninth
was
grade.
seventh and sixth, seventh, and eighth, I think. and then ninth grade starts high school. So
Okay, so she's
yeah,
in
but still, you're right. It's
she
like, where does
passed.
the time go? You know, where does the
I don't even
time
want to
go?
look. I don't want to see. And she's playing volleyball, and she's got those big long. To see that. All I see is that little girl that set up in that press conference that wouldn't give me one of her little blueberries right before she became viral. I saw her and Aisha in the hallway, and they were just such. It was just the three of them at the time, and they were so they were so accessible back then. And they were sitting outside the locker room in Oakland, and I saw her, and I said, "Hi," and she snapped like did one of those, and Aisha said, "Don't do that's not nice. Give her one of your blueberries," and she did like this to me. Then she went to press conference and went
Went
viral,
viral. It was it
and that
was
was it. After that,
that
mm,
was a big part of their identity,
mm-hmm.
her, telling her to be quiet. It was sweet. It was a
You
very
talk
sweet
too
story.
loud.
Yeah, it was
Be
very sweet story.
quiet. She was
Very sweet
only
story.
she was only two
Too. Yeah.
at the time, and she
Yeah.
said, "You talk too loud,"
But
and mhm,
I was gonna say that just goes to show how long of a run they've been on, if you
that
think about
part,
it.
that part for real. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy. Crazy but true. Yeah,
Yeah.
very long
Yeah.
run. I
Yeah.
guess we love it, but people sick of us. They
Yeah.
just like I get sick of seeing certain teams. Oh, here we go, or the Yankees. Here we go, because I don't like nothing about no Yankees.
Nah.
Oh, but
Nah.
them pinstripes is cold though. Them-
That's the D uniform, I think.
Ooh.
Uh, although, and we can, I mean, next show, I think next show, let's talk about uniforms and jerseys because
Mm-hmm.
it's so many variations now and everybody's got to have the different home jerseys and the
Yes,
feature jerseys and the this and the throwbacks. And it's like,
yes.
I was watching a baseball game the other day. I had no idea who was playing. It looked like a softball league, some of the uniforms that
Thank
they were
you
had
for
on.
thank you
So,
for
so
saying
let's
that.
put a pin in that. Next show, we go talk about classic uniforms,
Please.
and why it's so important to understand who's playing when you turn on the TV because sometimes you can't
And
tell.
the money the revenue that's being made from the different designs of these lids now, these hats. I don't know if you're familiar with the balloon show, but they've got one out of Indianapolis, and the guy did his remote out of did his show in Detroit. And they said, "Well, we know you're from Indianapolis, but we welcome you to the D now. Now you one of us," and gave him Lions hat. The Lions hat was olive green. It was fire. That hat was fire. But there's a logo for the Lions, and it was olive instead of blue
Yeah.
and silver.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
I was like,
we'll bring up some classic
wow.
uniforms and some new uniforms now. What's going on? And let's do. I think
Yeah,
from
let's
a
do the best and the worst.
we'll do a fashion. We'll do a fashion
Hmm.
critique of uniforms. Bet.
I like that.
So for everybody's watching, thank you. That's what we're gonna do next show. We're gonna do a fashion. We'll put some stuff out there. You guys let us know which ones are your favorites. We'll get some pictures
Hmm.
and we'll look at them and critique them. So, but yeah, but it's time to get up out of here, Felicia. So thank you once again for talking sports. Always appreciate it. Always appreciate it. Thank you, Christy, and sorry
Always.
about the dog and for having to pick up a stiff dead dog. Sorry about that.
Yeah, she a G. She picked right up. Whoop. Because I
Yeah.
wasn't doing it. I was like, when I came down them stairs, I knew he was gone. I knew he was gonna be gone when I woke up because he wouldn't take a hot dog from me. And he was a pig. And I said, well, I'm gonna let him
I'm,
alone
I'm
go to
not
sleep.
laughing. I ain't like that's funny.
It's funny. No,
he,
I got a sense of humor.
he would take a hot dog, so I knew something was wrong with him. Wow.
I treated he
Wow.
was like this. He was like, Mama, just get out my face and let me die. And He was. I looked up. I got to the top of the stairs and looked down on him, and he was just staring off into the distance, like, "Lady, just go. Just give me my peace." He was on that blanket. I came down, and sure enough, mouth was half open, had a little bit of blood. I was like, "Oh damn!" And then I sat there and looked at him, and I was like, "Do I want to cry? Supposed to cry?" And then my other little dog went crazy. She went up to him. That was sad. She went up to him and she knew. She just started barking. Like, get up. Yeah, she started spinning like, what's going on? She's barking at him. She didn't know that she would be next. She was next. She was next. Oh, oh Lord. I'm gonna have to pee the people after me. Oh,
I know. It's like, you'll get that narrative, dog killer.
Man, okay. Dog and bird killer.
Exactly. You know, make sure my Chat GPT and my Gemini wasn't listening, because we didn't call the authorities on you.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, the bird. I do miss my bird though. I still, when I hear them, they wake me up in the morning. That's how I know I'm oversleeping. Because birds will start chirping outside my window. And I'll be like, oh, mango. Oh, good old mango. Yeah. But that's less work for me to have to do, clean the bird cage.
I heard that.
Yeah.
I heard that. Well, all right,
So you
Felicia,
got a song today? No.
I do not. I'm lagging.
Hey!
I got to get back on it. I know I'm lagging. I know.
Oh!
I've been lagging. I got some new music though. It's something I want to show you. Next show. I'll save it to next show. I got some real. I'll tell you. I'll tell you off the air what I got.
Okay.
What I got.
Yeah.
We down in LA. I went to a record store. So
ooh.
yeah, I'll show you. But let's get. Well, let me tell you. As soon as we close out, I'll show it to you. I'll tell you what I got. It's nice. All right, Felicia.
I can't wait.
Sports in the Bay, Felicia and Eddrick. We'll see y'all again in the next show.
Have a good weekend, everyone.